Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable.
Revolution.
First, what is a revolution?
Revolution is the solution, hey.
The motive of a revolution.
Well, now,
The objective of a revolution.
be televised.
And the result of a revolution. And the methods used in a revolution.
I know you know. Put my gun away. Never gonna put my gun away. Put my gun away. See that might be better run away.
This generation of Americans has already had enough, more than enough, of war and hate and oppression.
Hello, Internet. How is everybody this lovely Sunday evening? A lot to be happy about, some things to be sad about, but it's California. We live in the most beautiful place on earth, unfortunately. We also have the worst government on earth. Well, I guess that's debatable, but they're horrible. They're horrible monsters, and they make our lives a living hell with every opportunity that they have, but we suffer it. We go through it because of how perfect it is here, how beautiful it is here. It's drizzling outside right now in the Santa Cruz Mountains, and I love this time of year. I absolutely love it. We got one more week left of daylight savings time, and soon it'll be dark by 5 o'clock in the evening, and that's always upsetting. But fortunately, we get to put up Christmas lights soon. And if you guys know anything about me, you know that I love Christmas. I don't mind Mariah Carey. I love Christmas. It's one of my favorite times of year. But first, we got Halloween, we got Thanksgiving, and I have a lot to be thankful for. So I hope everybody's having a fantastic Sunday, you fellow Californians, and those of you in the rest of the country, maybe you escaped California and you're just tuning in. Other parts of the country, you just want to hear me talk shit about Gavin Newsom. Welcome, all of you. Glad that you're here. Let's check on the chat. If you guys are watching, drop in the chat, say hi. It boosts my self-esteem. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We have a lot to talk about tonight. There is a ton going on. And unfortunately, I just saw some very sad news out of Santa Cruz. So we'll just get right into it, shall we? Again, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And join in the chat. Help me out. Let's talk about some stuff. So we've got the Santa Cruz Wharf had some eventful things happen out there today. Unfortunately, a car drove right off the wharf into the water. And, you know, people were kind of joking at first saying, no, you can't park there, saying that kind of thing. But you guys, it's like at least a 20-foot drop, probably a 30-foot drop up from the wharf down to the water, especially depending on where the swell's at. And it's about 30 feet to the bottom of the ocean right there. And if you don't get out of your car and you sink all the way to the bottom, it's you're in a bad situation. And unfortunately, this driver did not survive. I just listened to the interview with the firemen, and according to the firemen and this article, the victim was taken to a local hospital, Dominican hospital, by ambulance and was ultimately pronounced dead. A dog was also found in the water in the area of the crash. The dog was rescued and is in control of the Santa Cruz County Animal Control. So I don't know if my first thought was like maybe the dog was in the car and he got the dog out of the car before the car all the way sunk. But the firemen said that when the divers reached the vehicle on the bottom of the ocean, all of the windows were up and fully intact. So that's a bit weird. Maybe the dog just fell in. It was a bystander's dog. I don't know. I don't know the status yet, but it's in the care of Santa Cruz County Animal Control. So that would tell me that it was actually the driver's dog. I reached out to Santa Cruz County Animal Shelter to see if they will be getting if that dog will be being put in their care, and I haven't heard back from them yet. So we shall see. We shall see what they say about the dog. So super sad. Person died. Never a good situation. And yeah, just all I'll update when I hear other things. And, you know, they're still investigating. We don't know why the person drove into the water, if they hit the gas instead of the brake. We don't know. We don't know if it was a suicide. We don't know if the person was on drugs or drunk or whatever. We don't know anything. We don't even know anything about the person who was driving the vehicle, if they were male, female, how old they were. They haven't released any of that information yet, at least as far as I could tell so far. So, yeah, sad stuff. Sad stuff. I just wanted to start the show off with that because it's local news, and, you know, this is my area. So that's what I wanted to talk about first. All right. But the main topic of the show tonight is this whole California CDL situation. I don't even know what CDL stands for, but it's basically a trucker's license. It's the ability to drive a big rig, a 18-wheeler, big giant semi-truck that carries a big old trailer and delivers goods and drives all over the country, that kind of thing. You know, very dangerous vehicles that are difficult to operate, especially if you don't know what you're doing. And if you're driving one of them and you can't read road signs, it can be even more dangerous. So, you know, there's that. So, yeah, we'll get right into it, because as you guys know, there's been a couple accidents recently, and it turns out that they're both last name Singh, ironically, and both of them were here illegally, and both of them somehow obtained California CDLs. So let's take a look at how all this stuff started. So back in 2015, California passed a law that said if you're here illegally, we'll give you a driver's license. And I mean, I wasn't down with that as it was, because there's no requirement like how are you going to handle car insurance? Because after that, everybody started having to get uninsured motorist insurance, because how many illegal immigrants are going to go get car insurance? And yeah, it just created a whole new set of problems. So let's this is from Maze over here on YouTube. This is on X, and that's at MAZEMOORE. Good account to follow. He goes back and finds good info and gets clips of like old things that pertain to things that are going on now, and I like him. It's a good follow if they're on X. So he says, over a decade ago, California passed a law allowing illegal immigrants to get driver's licenses. What a joke that state has made of our immigration laws. Newsom says California represents the future of America. This is what the country will look like if he becomes president. You guys, if you're watching, let me know if my audio is good. One of you guys is watching in the chat. Let me know if my audio is good. I haven't. Chat is quiet. It's strange. I'm actually wondering if I have something wrong with the chat right now. Guys, give me a thumbs up over there if my audio's all right. Just want to make sure, that kind of thing. Let me see here. Yeah, I don't see any problems. So let me keep going here. I'm going to play a video, but yeah, please let me know in the chat if I'm having any audio issues. I think I should be good, but I want to make sure. So, all right, let's watch this video. This is from KCRA back in 2015. So this is like nearly 10 years ago, and it definitely pertains to what we're dealing with today.
A new law will let undocumented immigrants in California have a driver's license for the first time, with more than 1 million people expected to apply.
This was sold as a public safety measure, but there's no protections in it. I mean, the public needs to know that. There's no requirement that you have insurance. There's no requirement that you even have car registration.
It takes hours just to get through these doors at the driver's license office, but many of these people, including Christian Alvarado, don't mind.
It's so excited, no? For a long time waiting for the license.
Originally from El Salvador, Alvarado and his sister are undocumented immigrants. In the 8 years that he's been in the U.S., this is the first time he's been able to apply for a driver's license in California. Once he proves his identity and California residence, passes a vision test and a written and driving exam, he can get a license and drive without constant fear.
A new law will let undocumented immigrants in California have a driver's license for the first time, with more than 1 million people expected to apply.
This was sold as a public safety measure, but there's no protections in it. I mean, the public needs to know that. There's no requirement that you have insurance. There's no requirement that you even have car registration.
It takes hours just to get through these doors at the driver's license office, but many of these people, including Christian Alvarado, don't mind.
It's so excited, for a long time waiting for the license.
Originally from El Salvador, Alvarado and his sister are undocumented immigrants. In the 8 years that he's been in the U.S., this is the first time he's been able to apply for a driver's license in California. Once he proves his identity and California residence, passes a vision test and a written and driving exam, he can get a license and drive without constant fear.
A new law will let undocumented immigrants in California have a driver's license for the first time.
All right, so that's how it started. You get, 10 years ago, it's okay for illegal immigrants to drive on the road. 10 years later, they're getting CDLs. It's amazing. It's amazing how things progress in that way. So this clip is from Libs of TikTok. She says, holy shit, California has issued over 60,000 commercial driver's licenses. Okay, I guess that's what CDL stands for, doesn't it? Commercial driver's license. Americans are losing their lives to illegals on the road because of this. Newsom did this. But I mean, that's just CDLs. Remember, illegal immigrants can get driver's licenses in California, but obviously now they're getting commercial driver's licenses. I don't personally think they should have either. I don't think California should be a sanctuary state. Like, this is the type of thing that we're promoting, but this is what we got now. So let's go over to this clip is it's originally from Gunther Engelman, but Libs of TikTok shared it. So let's watch this from Fox News.
California had issued 62,000 CDLs, drivers who entered illegally, John, or do not have a permanent legal status as required by the feds. California sanctuary laws prohibit asking applicants their immigration status. Governor Newsom said there's not a problem. Back to you.
Did I hear you right? Did you say 62,000?
That's correct.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a federal audit.
William Lejeunesse for us. William, thank you so much. Let's bring in the acting ICE director, Todd Lyons. I was really taken aback with what William just said, that California gave out 62,000 CDL licenses. What do you make of that?
Well, John, what's even scarier than that is some of those were real IDs, right? So those individuals who aren't supposed to be in the country, anyways, can get on commercial aircraft, can travel. Now they have CDLs where they're transporting hazardous goods. And John, just think about this. That's just California. When you think about all these other sanctuary states that are doing the same thing, there are so many states that are giving these CDL drivers licenses to people that shouldn't be in the country anyways. This individual yesterday, he crossed the border in 2022. Unfortunately, under the last administration and the catch and release policies, Border Patrol had to let him go. And now look, we've had people lose their lives and more people are injured. It's really shocking that more people aren't up in arms about this, because this is totally wrong. These are all preventable accidents, but yet 63,000 illegal aliens have commercial driver's licenses, are on the road transporting God knows what, and can do more damage than anything just like that we saw in the video.
Yeah, these are called CDLs, to non-domiciled individuals. Here's what the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, said about it back on September the 26th. What our team has discovered should disturb and anger every American. Licenses to operate massive 80,000-pound trucks are being issued to dangerous foreign drivers, oftentimes illegally. This is a direct threat to the safety of every family on the road, and I won't stand for it. California must get its act together immediately, or I will not hesitate to pull millions in funding. So we had that incident in Florida earlier this year, where 2 people were killed immediately. Another one went to the hospital.
We'll get to that incident in Florida right now. So if you guys remember a few weeks ago, it might have only been like a week ago, because it's very strange that they're both the last name Singh. This guy over here, I mean, here's the video of it. This dude, again, issued a CDL from California here illegally. Danger. Nice to see you, man. Would you let me know if my audio is good? Because chat's quiet tonight, and I just want to make sure, because I'm using this new mixer, and I seem to have problems every week. So let me know if my audio is good, would you? So yeah, we had this incident out in Florida. Again, driver issued a CDL from California, and he decides to make a U-turn in the middle of the highway. And I believe he went all the way into the right lane, 2-lane highway, with a big median in the middle. and then other side of the highway. He goes all the way into the right lane, you know, because he's driving a big tractor trailer. So he's got to make a wide U-turn, just decides to make a U-turn. And this car just plows right into his trailer doing, 65. And yeah, 3 people died. And ironically, not in a funny way, they were also here illegally, from my understanding. They were Haitian illegal immigrants, all seeking asylum, I'm sure, saying, asylum, let me stay here, which the Biden administration did like crazy. So, you know what? I'm like concerned my audio isn't good right now. Someone in the chat, let me know if my audio is good. Is my audio good? Hopefully you guys are hearing these clips, you're hearing me, and I'm not just talking to dead air right now. So let me know if you would. I would much appreciate it. Yeah, same thing over on Rumble. All right. Is there like a sports ball game going on right now or something? There's usually a lot more people in the chat than this, so kind of surprising here. All right, let's watch this clip of the incident that happened out in Florida a few weeks ago, or maybe even just like a week ago. It's only like 20 seconds. So there he goes, making the U-turn, and you can see like he looks over his left shoulder and like, uh-oh, here comes this car that's not going to be able to stop. Right there. So that minivan, looking right at it, and everyone in that car died. Goes right under his trailer. So he starts, you can see clearly, it's 2 lanes right here. He starts in the right lane, just decides he's going to make a U-turn. Car plows right into him. There's another incident. It wasn't really an incident, but there's videos of other drivers doing this that are just making U-turns right in the middle of the freeway, stopping traffic, not giving a shit. I don't know if this is something that happens in other parts of the world and this is considered normal, but yeah, people will die here if you do that. So that happened. And this is from Bill Mulligan. He says, breaking, a senior official in the Florida AG's office tells me the initial results of their investigation into Harinder Singh, the Indian illegal alien truck driver charged with killing 3 people in a crash in Florida in August. Okay, so this is all the way back in August. Reveals Singh failed his CDL test 10 times in a 2-month window. To me, you fail it 10 times. You should have to wait a year before you can take the test again, something like that. But okay, whatever. 10 times in a 2-month window in the state of Washington. Additionally, I'm told Singh also failed his air brakes knowledge test twice, and that the Washington company that provided Singh's behind the wheel CDL trained attested he could speak English proficiently when he couldn't. The Florida AG investigation is ongoing, and I'm being told there's more to come. The Florida AG's office also sued California and Washington via SCOTUS last week, asking SCOTUS to prevent both states from issuing CDLs to illegal immigrants and accusing both states of not complying with federal safety and immigration status requirements when issuing CDLs. Okay, so the finger is starting to be pointed back and forth, as you will see shortly here. Bill Mulligan also says, ultimately, the state of Washington gave Singh the CDL first. Then the state of California also gave him a CDL. So he got his commercial driver's license. Cool. Thank you, Danger. Thank you. I appreciate it. He got his commercial driver's license in Washington, and then California gave him the commercial driver's license as well. He failed the test 10 times in Washington before he ultimately got it. Like, how can you fail the test 10 times and then just keep taking it until you pass? It's kind of insane. You'd think there'd have to be a time period, especially if you failed it 10 freaking times. Okay, whatever. All right. So this is the incident that happened last week, and it's bad. It is bad, folks. This video is not gory. I'm sure all of you guys have already seen this. It's not gory, but it's bad. Like, the video is bad. Dude didn't even hit his brakes, and I mean, just crushed the cars in front of him, hit a semi-truck. Then there was a semi-truck getting his tire changed on the side of the road over there. Like another semi-truck blew his tire, and he was getting serviced by, one of those tow companies that you see towing semi trucks changing his tire or something like that, and he hit them too. So here it goes.
Exclusive dash cam video, which is now the subject of several law enforcement investigations. It shows the moment a red semi-truck plowed into a number of vehicles on the westbound 10 freeway in Ontario just after 1 p.m. yesterday. The CHP told the LA Times the driver of this big rig is a 21-year-old man who is now under arrest on suspicion of driving under the influence of drugs. A total of 4 semis were involved and also 4 passenger vehicles, one of them exploding in flames. 3 people were killed and 4 others were taken to local hospitals. This horrific crash happened just east of the 15 freeway and shut down all westbound lanes for more than 12 hours. Thousands of drivers were trapped in the gridlock just as the evening commute was getting underway. It's also near the exclusive dash cam.
Soylent Green, nice to see you. Thanks for joining the chat. If you guys are just join the chat, say something, say hi. Let me know I'm ugly, whatever. Just say something in the chat and boost my self-esteem when you do it. Yeah, so I mean, just watch it again really quick. He doesn't even slow down.
Video, which is now the subject of several law enforcement investigations. It shows the moment a red semi-truck plowed.
Doesn't even slow down. Unbelievable. So yeah, and I guess the guy was on drugs, and again, here illegally, given a CDL in California. This is the dude. This is from ABC7 Eyewitness News. Says breaking the San Bernardino County. Oh, this also happened on Highway 10, like right by where I used to live. I used to live in Ontario, California for a couple of years, and this happened right there, apparently. So the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office filed charges against 21-year-old Jashanpreet Singh, another Singh, the semi-truck driver accused of causing the 8-vehicle chain reaction. Singh was charged with 3 counts of vehicular manslaughter with gross negligence and 1 count of DUI causing injury. A Pomona High School basketball coach and his wife were among the 3 victims killed in the crash on the 10 freeway. So, I mean, this is why I say Gavin Newsom has blood on his hands. Gavin Newsom's policies are quite literally killing Californians. And we're not just talking about allowing people to kill themselves slowly on the streets, shooting up drugs. This is issuing somebody a commercial driver's license that's here illegally, and he goes out and kills someone, kills 3 people. Californians, basketball coach and his wife. I mean, how is this happening? How can anybody that's here illegally have his driver's license, much less a commercial driver's license? Like, you don't have to come here illegally. You can get a career. Like, are you telling me that there isn't Californians that want to? They say illegal immigrants aren't taking jobs too, right? Who's gonna pick your crops is what they always say. Well, this guy's not picking crops. This guy's driving a commercial truck, very well-paying job. There's lots of Americans, lots of Californians that would like this job. He's got it. Goes through, kills 3 people. Like, how is this okay? So, you know, so now the blame's starting to get pushed around. So this is from Bill Mulligan. Bill Mulligan, if you guys don't follow Bill Mulligan, you should, especially if you're Californian. He's the one that he's one of the few reporters in California that really goes hard on the things that the California government doesn't want us talking about. So he's breaking per multiple ICE sources. Jashanpreet Singh, the semi-truck driver, suspected of killing 3 people in a DUI crash on the 10 freeway in Ontario, California, is an Indian illegal alien who was caught and released at the California border by the Biden administration in 2022. DHS photo shows him attached via federal sources. So he just shows up at the border. So, like, remember too, this guy's from India, came across the Mexican border. And I've done episodes on this in the past, and Muckraker, even Brett Weinstein did deep dives into what was going on over at the Darien Gap and how this was a heavily funded initiative to get people from all over the world to come in through the Mexican border. It had funding from the cartels. It had funding from the UN, had funding from a whole bunch of other organizations. And this was a deliberate the open border situation was a deliberate attack on the United States. Most people just think of it as, oh, it's just people trying to seek better lives. No, this is an organized campaign, the whole Cloward Piven strategy thing playing out in real time, and everybody was just ignoring it. It's like this guy, he's here illegally from India. And what are you seeking asylum from in India? Like, really? Like, why are you escaping India? So what's so bad in India that you're in that much danger that you have to seek asylum in America? So he also says, I'm told ICE is placing a detainer request on Singh with the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, where he is in custody on suspicion of DUI causing great bodily injury and gross vehicular manslaughter while intoxicated. He has not been formally charged yet. Police say Singh was speeding and under the influence, never hitting his brakes, when he crashed into slow-moving traffic on the freeway, causing a devastating and deadly chain reaction that killed 3 people. The victims have not yet been identified. As we already learned, 2 of the victims was a basketball coach and his wife. So horrible. This is just more dash cam footage from it. So we don't need to watch that. We already watched it. Boss Tina, nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. All right, good. I'm glad my audio is okay. Let me check over on Rumble, see if you guys are hanging out there. All right, Rumble chat's dead. So, is there a sports ball game going on, you guys? Is there like important? It's late October. There's probably freaking Major League Baseball playoffs right now, and probably football. Is there football going on right now? I don't watch sports anymore. I used to be so into sports, and I just don't watch at all anymore. So I never know what's going on. I know my show doesn't do as well during football season, and probably the World Series is going on right now. You guys, I played baseball 17 years. Baseball used to be my life. I was a diehard Giants fan. Even in the off season, I'm watching every trade, listening to all the trade rumors. All I listened to was KNBR. I was huge into baseball. It was like the only thing I cared about. Then 2020 happened. I no longer care about sports. Everything went woke. Everything went stupid. And I just don't care anymore. I just don't freaking care. I almost want to care too. I want to care about baseball, but it all just seems so trivial to me now with all the madness that takes place in this world. Go Dodgers. Okay, whatever, Nicole. Nicole, nice to see you. Nicole Young, Steelers and Packers. Oh, geez. Yeah, nobody's watching this show right now. Well, maybe the non-sports ball fans are. That makes perfect sense. I was just like, I started the show and there's literally nobody in the chat. I was like, what the fuck is going on? This is crazy. All right, so keep going here. This is from Margot Cleveland. She says, 2 years late. So DMV. Until further notice, the California DMV cannot issue, reissue, or renew limited term legal presence non-domiciled commercial driver's license. Why? See how they specified that? They can renew commercial driver's licenses for American citizens, but what they specifically said there is we can't renew commercial driver's license for non-domiciled commercial renewed limited term legal presence. Limited term legal presence. So what does that mean? So we'll get to Gavin Newsom's excuse in a minute here. So I want to read this article from Zero Hedge first. It's not that long, so let's just read what he has to say. So Duffy is threatening to strip California of the ability to issue commercial driver's licenses. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy warned on October 23rd that California could lose its ability to issue commercial driver's licenses and risk losing more funding if it fails to comply with federal transportation rules. It looks like California is. Now, the Transportation Department has already withheld more than $40 million in funding from California after an investigation found that the state had not met federal English language proficiency standards for truck drivers, Duffy said in a post on X. Gavin Newsom said, yes, we are. And that's just kind of where it stayed. And that was before this second major accident happened. First one was in Florida. And I guess somehow Gavin can distance himself from it because it happened in Florida. And he was like, and the guy had a California driver's license, but it didn't happen in California. Now that this one happened in California, same thing, guys issued a CDL from California. There's a lot more eyes on it for whatever reason, probably because it's the second incident where an illegal immigrant with a CDL killed people. But there's way more eyes on this now, and it is a way bigger deal, and Gavin is scrambling. So Harjinder Singh is escorted. So this is the guy from Florida, is escorted onto an airplane by Florida Lieutenant Jay Collins after law enforcement in Stockton, California. Blah, blah. That's just a description of the picture. In an interview with Fox News aired on October 23rd, Duffy threatened to pull another $160 million from California if it refused to adhere to federal regulations governing the issuance of commercial driver's licenses. It should be shut down right now until we figure out what the hell is going on. He says, I'm doing a quick review of the state's lack of compliance for our rules. I have the ability, and I'm going to pull almost another $160 million, Duffy said. And then I have the ability for California to say, listen, you don't follow any of these rules that keep Americans safe. We're going to revoke your ability to issue a commercial driver's license. And that's for everybody. Issue any commercial driver's licenses, which would be a bad deal. As the Epoch Times ADRA Freddie reports below in a letter to California Governor Gavin Newsom dated September 26th, and again, that's before this latest incident occurred. The department, so this is before the second person was killed. Now they are on Gavin like flies on shit. Perfect metaphor for Gavin Newsom. The Department's Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration stated that it is investigation found that California had issued commercial driver's licenses to non-domiciled drivers that were valid beyond the expiration of the work authorized in the country. The agency required that California implemented corrective measures, warning that the failure to do so could result in the loss of certain federal highway funds and the decertification of the state's commercial driver's licensing program. So remember, this is a federal program. They're just allowed to issue the licenses. The state was ordered to pause issuance of the commercial driver's licenses to non-domiciled drivers, identify all unexpired non-domiciled drivers who failed to comply with federal regulators, and conduct an internal audit to identify the procedural and programming errors in the issuance of commercial driver's licenses, among other requirements. The Epoch Times reached out to Newsom's office for comment, but did not receive a response by publication time. The department initiated an investigation into California's compliance with federal safety rules following the fatal crash in Florida on August 12th that involved a semi-truck driver who illegally entered the United States in 2018 through the southern border. So again, another truck driver from India getting here through the southern border. That should send some red flags up for you. Like, why? Wait, huh? How did he get here through the southern border? It's because they had a whole system to get people from all over the freaking world to come in through the southern border. And then they'll say that you're racist towards Mexicans. No, it's not just Mexicans coming over the border. That's what it was traditionally. Not anymore. They're coming from all over the world, and it's being highly funded by freaking NATO, by the UN, by these NGOs, and they're coordinating with cartel groups to get them over certain areas of land and get them to the border fence wall thing. The whole thing is so it's a giant scandal in itself, and somehow the story has just kind of like all disappeared. That's one thing that I want Trump to be looking into. I mean, one of the biggest things that I wanted Trump to do was secure the border and start deporting people. Good. He's doing that. Good job, Trump. Good on that. But what about the giant scandal behind how it was this organized effort to flood America with illegal immigrants from all over the world? And again, there was massive funding behind it. It was a massive coordinated effort. It was clearly the whole Cloward Piven strategy thing. Why aren't we doing why isn't the FBI or even the CIA, because this is international, doing a massive investigation into this and finding out who was responsible for orchestrating this whole attack on America? Because that's what it was. Because now look what we're seeing. It's absolute fucking chaos. Okay. Sorry about the rant. And Honeycutt, glad to see you're still here. Nice. Thanks. Thanks for joining. Wally World. Oh, good. I was wondering where you were. I thought you were watching sports ball. It's kind of funny because Canada versus LA. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I did see that. So yeah, I can't believe I'm not I want to be into baseball anymore, but I just can't. I just don't care. I just don't care. I want to care. I went to a River Cats game with my buddy. That was fun. I still like baseball. I still know a lot about baseball. I still appreciate good baseball players, but it all just seems so fake and gay to me now. I just can't get into it. Okay. The department initiated an investigation into California's compliance with federal safety rules following a fatal crash in Florida on August 12th that involved a semi-truck. Okay, I already read that. The truck driver, identified as Harinder Singh, an Indian national, allegedly made an illegal U-turn on the Florida Turnpike on August 12th, causing a minivan to collide with the commercial semi-truck. All three of the minivan occupants were killed in the crash. Singh was issued a commercial driver's license in July of 2024 by California, despite being in the country illegally. He had also obtained a full-term commercial driver's license in Washington. So again, both these fucking, oh, no. This is just this guy. The latest guy, I don't know if he had a commercial driver's license in Washington, but this guy also had one in Washington State, issued it in July of 2023. So again, he originally, this is the Florida incident. This is the Florida Singh. That both the guys are named Singh too. It's just weird. So the first event, this guy was originally issued a CDL from Washington, then also in July of 23, and then he got one in a year later in California, even though he failed the test 10 freaking times. Singh also did not pass English language and road tests, according to officials. On October 23rd, federal immigration authorities filed an arrest warrant for an Indian national who is alleged to have killed 3 people in California while driving a semi-truck under the influence of drugs. The incident occurred on October 21st. 3 people died instantly in the accident, and several others were injured, Immigration and Customs Enforcement said in a statement. ICE lodged an arrest detainer on the 22nd for Jashanpreet Singh, 21, who they said a criminal alien from India. So, and just sort of a side note, when ICE requests a detainer from, the sheriff's department, local police, it's against the law for them to hand them over to ICE. So often you'll get criminals that commit a crime and they're being held, but before ICE was actually already deployed to California, they wouldn't hold the person. They would just cut them loose and they'd just be off in the wind. This is like a civil war to me with California and the federal government. So California is doing everything they can to flood California with illegal immigrants. And it's insane. It's absolutely insane. So who else is going to pick our crops is what they say. At the same time, when they say that fast food workers deserve a minimum wage, everybody deserves a minimum wage. And out of the same freaking mouth, they'll say, but who's gonna pick our crops? We need a slave class to pick our crops. Only illegal immigrants will do it for the tiny amounts of money that like how can you have this freaking dichotomy going on in your brain at the same time? These people are freaking nutbags. The Trump administration paused the issuance of all work visas for commercial truck drivers on August 21st, stating that the increased number of foreign drivers was endangering American lives and undercutting jobs for American workers. Yes, just like I've been saying, they're not picking crops. Driving a semi-truck is a well-paying job. California's Department of Transportation issued an emergency ruling last month that prohibits the state from issuing or renewing limited-term legal commercial driver's licenses for non-citizens. So there you have it. They're actually going after this stuff. All right, check the chat. Truck drivers used to be the best drivers, but not anymore. Yeah, I don't know. Bostina, it justifies self-driving semis, which Tesla is working on. Oh, you're saying this is like your tinfoil hat theory? Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. Flood the country with illegal immigrants that can't read road signs, don't know how to drive well, and a bunch of accidents will start happening, and then they'll point at it and say, look, we need self-driving semi-trucks. Yeah, I'm not going to say that's not what's going on. But yeah. Okay, so this is from the Department of Homeland Security. They say Newsom's pro-illegal alien policies cost lives. Now that California's policies have led to a disaster, he's attempting to shift the blame. They worded that poorly. They should have said now that California's policy have led to a disaster, he's attempting to shift the blame. Okay, sorry. They said Newsom's pro-illegal alien policies cost lives. Okay. In Gavin Newsom's California, possessing employment Possessing employment authorization is enough to grant someone a commercial driver's license, a CDL. California is solely responsible for deciding who they give a CDL to. California's sanctuary state policies are 100% to blame for providing an individual who is not an American citizen and did not have legal status with a CDL. Now Gavin's actions have killed Americans. So it's got to make you wonder, right? So wait, hold on. If they can get commercial driver's licenses, what other jobs can illegal immigrants legally do in California? Lots of jobs here, lots of stuff going on, lots of high profile jobs that might put people in danger if the wrong people were employed in those jobs. What other jobs could they hold, you guys? We'll keep going and I'll answer that question in a minute. This is from Bo Loudon. It says it's official. The Trump administration just launched a major fraud investigation into any company that hires drivers who can't speak English. No more licenses until we can figure out how many people we have in the system. All right, let's watch this clip from Fox News here really quick.
Again, the driver that we're mentioning in Florida, he didn't speak English. 3 or 4 road signs he couldn't read, and a clear violation of the rule. So the question becomes, if you can't understand English, you can't understand road signs, how in the heck can you ever pass a test to be issued a commercial driver's license? You can't do it but for fraud. And so that is another investigation that we have undertaken to find out who are the good companies, who are the fraudulent bad companies, and we have to root them out. Again, you should expect to be safe when you're on the road. And by the way, John, it's these very foreign drivers with these kind of licenses that don't just drive the big rig or the tanker. They're also driving school buses, getting behind the wheel, taking kids to and from school, and there's no certainty that they actually have the skills to drive those vehicles. They understand the English language to stay safe when they're on the roadways. So a whole bunch of issues at play. And again, this comes under the backdrop of Joe Biden and Democrats letting 10 to 15 million illegals in the country. And now Gavin Newsom and others are bending over themselves to allow them to get commercial driver's licenses. And again, Trump administration, Donald Trump has said, we put America first. We are going to stop this charade. No more licenses until we can figure out how many problems we have in the system. And so Gavin didn't follow it. We put the rule out, and now we're going to take his money. We have other steps after money that we can take with California, but I want them to comply, John.
You know, people like Tim Pool are always talking about civil war, and you know, he uses it in like an obscure way. I mean, he gives details on like how he thinks it could go down, but to me, there's a war going on between California and the federal government, and just the example of, you know, California local police, sheriff's department, highway patrol, they are instructed not to cooperate with ICE. So if they arrest somebody, even on a violent crime, oftentimes that person will just be cut loose, even if they're here illegally, and they will not honor ICE detainer requests in most circumstances. I mean, if somebody gets arrested for freaking jaywalking and they're here illegally in California, they should be handed over to ICE. Local police departments be like, no, you fucked up. Time to go. Like, you're not supposed to be here. They don't do that. It's a sanctuary state. And it's insane to me. Josh, what's up, man? Josh Pitts. Josh, dude, freaking ankle's better. But now I think I got a fracture in my foot. Josh was with me when I rolled my ankle at my the first trail race I tried to do in years. And it sucked and it was embarrassing. And I had to walk 5 miles back and I was sad. Josh says autonomous trucking will be here by 2030. Most likely more jobs lost and goods won't get cheaper. Corporations will just make more. Yeah, I see it. But at the same time, they said that autonomous driving for trucks was going to be here already. And I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I feel like these jobs won't disappear entirely. But, you know, you could be right. Could be right. Danger. Yeah, you got it right. And I don't want to say it yet because I'm going to get into it in a little bit here. Yep, you're definitely right there. We are already in a civil war. I agree. I will agree. At least civil strife is what we can say. So, all right. So this is from Bill Mulligan. Bill Mulligan says, breaking in a statement to Fox News, California Governor Gavin Newsom's office acknowledges that Indian illegal alien truck driver Jashanpreet Singh, charged with killing 3 in a DUI crash in Ontario on Tuesday, has a California CDL, but points the finger at the feds for giving him a work permit. This work permit would have been approved by the Biden administration, as illegal aliens can apply for work authorization 6 months after making their asylum claims. And again, asylum from what? You came here from India. Like, asylum from what? He crossed the border illegally in March of 2022 and was released into the U.S. by the Biden administration and was given a future immigration court date. So, off into infinity, 6 years out, just released in the United States. That's how it worked. You just had to show up, say asylum, and they will process you, give you a court date, just release you into the United States. And then if you wait 6 months, you can pretty much have any job. You can get a federal work authorization, and that's how, and then just go to a sanctuary state where you'll be protected by local police and given health care, like in here in California. I told somebody that a couple of days ago, that illegal immigrants are getting health care here in California. He was like, I heard that was a lie. I was like, the way they say it's a lie, it's not a lie. The way they say it's a lie is they can't get Medicare. Illegal immigrants can't get Medicare. California has Medi-Cal. Medi-Cal, California's version of Medicare. And yes, that is open to illegal immigrants. So people that just got here, came here illegally, that have never paid any tax dollars whatsoever, can just go get health insurance. And yeah, la-ti-da. There's other stuff too. There's like assistance with housing. There's assistance with electricity bills, all sorts of shit available for illegal immigrants. They even tried to make it so illegal immigrants could buy homes here in California. It's off the charts. It's insane here, the stuff that we do. Okay, so this is a statement from Gavin Newsom's office. This is a tragic situation, and as with every tragedy over the last 10 months, Secretary Newsom has ordered Secretary Duffy to look for every opportunity to manipulate the facts to score cheap political points. But the federal government needs to look within before they cast blame outside. The federal government approved and renewed this individual's federal employment authorization multiple times, which allowed him to obtain a commercial driver's license in accordance with federal law. Would refer you to the California Transportation Agency, who can further assist with your inquiry. So Gavin Newsom is the ultimate narcissist. He's incapable of taking any responsibility. Like, how much respect would he gain if he's like, you know what? We screwed up on this one. He never should have had a commercial driver's license. You can mention, like, yeah, he shouldn't have had a work authorization either, but he also shouldn't have had a commercial driver's license. Like, if you have a federal work authorization, you can still see that that person is here illegally. Once you determine that, how are you going to issue them a commercial driver's license? This is 100% on Gavin Newsom as much as it's on the Biden administration. And by the way, you're also throwing the Biden administration under the bus here. The same people that you cheered for Kamala, cheered for Biden. These are all people that you supported. So who are you really trying to shift the blame to? And you're going to have the exact same policies that they had, even worse, if you get into office as a president. And you know it's coming. So there's Gavin Newsom just shifting the blame, not taking any accountability whatsoever, blaming the federal government, where he's actually trying to blame Trump here, even though this happened in 2022 when Biden was in office. It's infuriating. It's like everyone that looks even remotely under the surface can tell all of these things that he says are just flat out lies. Oh man. Okay, and then he's got, okay, so here, hold on. This is from Secretary Sean Duffy. He says, California knew the rules. They promised they would comply. They illegally upgraded this foreigner's license anyway. Now innocent 3 souls are gone. Newsom lies, people die. That's from Secretary Sean Duffy. And then you've got this guy, Brandon Richards. Let me make this full screen so you guys can see this. So this is Brandon Richards. You guys might see him over on X. If you guys aren't on X, this is where all the propaganda takes place. So let me make this full screen so you guys can see it. So this is Brandon Richards. What does it say in his bio? What is it? It says he's a rapid responder for California Governor Gavin Newsom. Him in his bio. This is Brandon Richards here. This is Brandon Richards. This is his, oh, okay. So it's just like an emoji picture. Yeah, so Brandon Richards, rapid response for Governor Gavin Newsom. So he responds to Sean Duffy and says, these are the facts. And then he just quote posts Gavin Newsom's statement that I just read to you guys. This is tragic. And as with every tragedy of the last 10 months, blah, blah, blah. It was actually the federal government's fault. So Brandon Richards, rapid response, literally propagandist for Gavin Newsom. He's a hired, paid propagandist for Gavin Newsom. That's what this guy is. Brandon Richards, this freaking douchebag. Can't stand him. He's always just trying to spin the web of lies for Gavin Newsom. And all he does here to refute what Secretary Duffy says, he says, oh, actually, it was the federal government's fault. And he's trying to like put it on to Trump. But this happened in 2022 under the Biden regime, given a federal work authorization. But again, California still issued the guy a CDL. So like what, how are you trying to zero accountability from these freaking psychopaths? It's infuriating. Okay, so this is from Sarah Fields, and she says, to legally obtain a commercial driver's license in California, you must provide an active driver's license, which illegal immigrants can have, a birth certificate, so birth certificate for wherever you were born, proof of legal residency in California. So there, right there, proof of legal residency. Okay, California is a sanctuary state. He was given asylum. Technically, it's legal residency, right? So I guarantee you, when they passed this law saying that you must prove that you're here legally, this meant for like, this was before all this asylum bullshit at the border was happening. This was back in the day when the only people that were here were people that came here legally, people that were here on work visas, or people that had their green cards. This wasn't for illegal immigrant asylum seekers, where asylum seekers was just created as this broad category where all you had to do is raise your hand and say asylum. Show up at the border, raise your hand, say asylum, and then you can work 6 months later. That's not what these requirements were designed to do. You may also pass a skills and you must also pass a skills and knowledge test, which the first driver in Florida failed 10 times. Again, illegal immigrants who cross the border illegally do not possess these documents and would rarely be able to pass the test. So that's not true. They can possess those documents. A driver's license, illegal immigrants can get those. A birth certificate, it doesn't say a birth certificate from where. Proof of legal residency in California. Well, California being a sanctuary state and people, asylum seekers, they're technically here legally because they've created all these loopholes to make it so they can say, well, you know, it's not technically illegal. Nothing to see here. But passing the test, you'll see what this. So I'll play you something in a second here. Given that this information is common knowledge and can be verified online, and considering the number of illegal immigrants who have reportedly obtained CDLs in California despite lacking these required documents, it is disingenuous and absurd to place the blame solely on the federal government. Gavin Newsom is a clown. So I agree for the most part with what she said there. She's just missing like the loopholes. They can provide all those documents, but can they pass the tests? That's the question. So they must be able to pass the test, right? Well, if they pass the test, they should be truck drivers. Well, okay, let's look into those tests a little bit. Oh, where did I have the video? Where did the video go? Did I skip it? Oh, you know what? I need to find it now. Oh, crap. Hold on. I got to find it. So stand by here. I need to find this video of, hopefully I didn't unbookmark it. I think I already did. Oh, no, I got it. All right, cool. Right here. So this is a video of a truck driver at a weigh station. I think he's at a weigh station where he's getting inspected. And it's just it's interesting what the people, he has some questions, and it's interesting what he says. So this is from Bonehead Truckers. So okay, good. I'm trying the right screen here. So let me go back to this screen. Okay. So this is from Bonehead Truckers. He says, this was sent to me by a viewer. He recorded a conversation with a California Department of Transportation officer. The officer was clear that he wasn't supposed to enforce any English proficiency laws. Secretary Duffy, this is what they think about safety in California. Let's watch this video. Some of it's kind of hard to hear, but just try to listen to what this guy's saying here.
Paperwork, was it for level 1? Disc brakes on the truck, so no measurements there. Long strokes on the rear, all within spec. Then for anything wrong with the truck with the trailer, everything looks pretty good.
Awesome.
Logs
Cool.
look good, license is good.
Nice. That was pretty quick, man. Thanks.
So Brandon,
Thank you, Anastasia.
stick on the truck and the trailer. Stickers are good for 3 months or 90 days. So you probably won't be expected again until maybe in January of next year.
Okay, cool. So I'm good. I don't got to sweat no bullets.
Unless you're coming through the scales, or unless you're coming through the scales, or driving down the road, they see something wrong visually.
Yeah, then they'll pull me in for, okay. Quick question for you. Are they making you guys comply with like the English proficiency? They're not making you guys? No.
Not here in California. No.
So hear what he said? Are they making you guys comply with the English proficiency thing? And the Department of Transportation office says, not here in California. So California government is directly instructing the Department of Transportation to not enforce English proficiency standards. Right there.
Yeah, so here in California, we're not enforcing it.
Did they talk to you guys about it or anything? Or
Yeah, they said don't enforce it.
don't they said specifically don't enforce
Don't
it?
enforce it, yeah, because this comes from top down, so California, we don't enforce that rule.
So he says this comes from the top down. So he's saying this is coming from the California government. Do not enforce English proficiency standards. This right there from the Department of Transportation officer.
Yeah.
It could change anytime.
Yeah.
But as of right now, we're not enforcing the English. But
Yeah, well, I saw they kept the 40 million federal funds from like the highway stuff, and
So this is recent. So remember, Trump withheld $40 million from California because they're not enforcing English proficiency standards. So even after they withheld that money, so whenever that was back in August, California is still instructing Department of Transportation officers to not enforce the English proficiency standards. There's road signs you've got to read, exit signs, turn signs, speed, all sorts of shit that you need to be able to read English. This shit's insane.
I thought maybe they might have like caved or something, but I guess not. No. Are you guys running into a lot of those drivers, like where they just you can't communicate with them? How do you guys do your inspections?
If we're trying to do level 1 with them, if they can't understand our instructions, then we just do a level 2, which is pretty much level 2, which is pretty much where we're just checking paperwork, doing a walk around, and that's it. We're just supposed to let you out.
Oh, really? Wow.
So it's because we're underneath the truck, and then you over here like fidgeting with the key and all this stuff. It's kind of like
It's dangerous.
Don't touch the keys, right?
Yeah.
You go back.
So let me play that again for you guys, because like I even blanked out for a minute because my dog's on her back rolling around and it's goofy.
Oh, really? Wow.
So it's because we're underneath the truck. If we're trying to do level 1 with them, if they can't understand our instructions, then we just do a level 2, which is pretty much.
So he's saying that they have like a level 1 test that they have to pass, and then a level 2. And he's like, but if they can't understand what we're saying, we just do the level 2. Like, holy shit, this is a safety thing. And then he starts talking about like, we got to crawl under the truck to inspect brakes and stuff like that. So, we just have them take the key out because we'll see them fidgeting with the key, like doing super dangerous shit.
Level 2, which is pretty much where we're just checking paperwork, doing a walk around, and that's it. We're just supposed to let you out.
Oh, really? Wow.
So it's because we're underneath the truck, and then you over here like fidgeting with the key and all this stuff. It's kind of like
It's dangerous.
Don't touch the keys, right?
Yeah.
So he's saying since they don't speak English well, we can't do our full inspection because they might kill us. We'll be crawling around under the truck and they'll be fidgeting with the key. They might start it up and drive and smash us. So he's like, we just don't even mess with it. We just let them go. So all the American truck drivers are forced to go through a much more rigorous test to make sure that their trucks are roadworthy. But they don't even do those tests with the illegal immigrant truck drivers because they don't want to put themselves in danger and they can't enforce the English proficiency. This shit's insane.
You go back under and then go over touching the keys again. It's kind of like, all right, you know what? That's too dangerous. That's too dangerous for me, right?
Yeah.
Now, that's a safety concern, right? So it's kind of like, I'm not gonna crawl underneath the truck if you're not understanding my instructions.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. Wow. Okay. Well, I appreciate your help, man. You have a good night.
Insane. Absolutely freaking insane, you guys. I don't understand how this shit's going on. MK Bakatra. Chat in X is not working. There's no comment box. Huh. That's weird. Anastasia just commented over there. This is the chat over on Rumble. Bob Tiergarden, what up, homie? Dude, that sucks. It's also why I don't usually run trail races. I know, man. I'm addicted to the trails, though, and everything around me. He's talking about me rolling my ankle during the trail race. I'm surrounded by trails, and I'm addicted. I'm addicted to trails. I've been running the road around here, which is still nice because I'm still in the redwoods, and the surfaces are much better. So I get kind of like the best of both worlds. I'm running on surfaces where I'm not likely to roll my ankle, and I'm still getting the redwoods. So it's like trail running on concrete, sort of. That makes sense. All right, Rumble, you guys like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Keep going here. So Josh Pitts, how are truck drivers getting these jobs or trucks to test in when they can cost an arm and a leg and just get to schooling? Well, they're getting hired they're not their own trucks. I imagine they're driving for a company and they're not getting these trucks themselves. But all right, let's keep going here. Okay, so I have one more thing, and Lonnie, you already mentioned it back there in the chat. Anastasia, thank you for reposting the stream. I much appreciate it. So, work authorization. Federal government issues work authorizations for asylees. And I asked the question earlier, like, well, what other jobs could they get that they wouldn't otherwise be able to get if they were here illegally? Pretty much any job. And that includes police officers. So I did a whole stream on this before. It costs thousands to get your CDL legally. Huh. Yeah, where are they getting the money? Are they getting the money from from the Tides Foundation, from some George Soros Open Society thing? Who knows? Yeah, like where are they getting all this money too? It's a good question. So back in 2023, Nancy Skinner introduced a bill which passed that allowed non-citizens, not saying illegal immigrants, non-citizens, the ability to become police officers in California. And San Francisco was the first police department to implement this policy, as you can see here. So San Francisco Police Department implements SB 960, California Peace Officer New Requirements. The San Francisco Police Department is proud to be one of the first major cities in California to embrace and implement Senate Bill 960. This new law was authorized by Senator Nancy Skinner of the East Bay, Rep. District 9, and it repeals the requirement to be a United States citizen to be a California police officer. So it used to be required to be a police officer in the United States or in California. You had to be a United States citizen. That is no longer required. So as soon as I saw this back in 2023, I started asking the question like, hey, wait a minute. So does that mean illegal immigrants can become cops? Everybody assured me. I think even Brandon Richards commented on one of these like, that's not true. They have to be legally authorized to work in the United States. Okay. Well, with these new asylum requirements, you seek asylum, you come to the border, come here illegally, cross over, you get detained by Border Patrol on purpose. They take you in, process you, cut you loose into the United States after giving you a court date that's years out. If you wait 6 months, the federal government under the Biden regime will give you a work authorization. Now, once you get that work authorization, you are legally allowed to work in the United States. So does that mean that person can go to the San Francisco Police Department or any other city that has implemented the SB 960 requirement or bill? Can they go and attempt to become police officers? And in some cases, possibly becoming police officers. We already have DACA recipients becoming police officers, but now you've got people that literally just showed up at the border, got detained, got their court date, got released, waited 6 months. Now they got the work authorization. From everything that I'm seeing, illegal immigrants can now at least attempt to become police officers. So if you're running a cartel and you see this loophole, what would stop you from being like, hey, let's send a whole bunch of guys over there and have them try to become police officers, go through the academy. They'll be all well funded. They got to pass I can't even remember the name of the test. I passed it. I was going to become a cop before COVID and before the vaccine requirements went out. Went through the Pella B test. That's what it's called. The written exam. Went through the physical agility test. Freaking passed it with basically a broken ankle. And the physical agility test is not much to become a cop. And got all the stuff. I was going to become a cop, applied for the Scotts Valley Police Department. They turned me down. And then right after that, they implemented the policy that all state workers state and county workers and city workers had to take the vaccine. So I just gave up on it. Wasted money, wasted all that time, and then I decided not to become a cop. And I'm glad I didn't because I don't really like the cops anyway. But yeah, I would have became a cop. Anyway, if you're a cartel, if you're running a cartel, or running, if you're a foreign government and you want spies in the police department, anything, you're going to have the funding. You can send people over to the United States, have them get their work authorization after waiting 6 months, and attempt to become police officers. So, like, we're getting all these CDLs issued to these illegal immigrants. What's to stop them from becoming police officers? Hell, FBI agents. I don't know. What else? We already heard them talk about bus drivers. What else can illegal immigrants become in California legally because of these loopholes that were created? That's my question. Are illegal immigrants becoming police officers? That's the question that I have for Gavin Newsom. Yeah, so, all right, that's all I got for that block. All right, it took about an hour to get through it. That's what I kind of expected. Okay, let's keep going here, you guys. Check the chat room rumble really quick. Mahanish, Cali girl, nice to see you. Nice to see you. All right. Yep, let's keep going here. I have a whole bunch of other stuff that I want to talk about. Whole bunch of California issues. So we're through the CDL stuff. You guys can see it's a whole bunch of shenanigans. And what the hell's going on? I really hope Trump cracks down on this because this shit is absolutely out of control. So, okay, so we'll start with this clip here. This is just got a couple Gavin Newsom clips that I want to play of just him gaslighting and being a liar. So I'll just play this clip. Dr. Hamedi shared this, and I'm not going to read his what he wrote just because it's long, and I need to get through all of these clips, and I don't know. I'm going to keep the stream to 2 hours, so wherever we get is where I'm going to stop tonight. All right, let's go over to this clip from Gavin Newsom. See what he has to say here. Don't throw up.
Is it fair to say after the 2026 midterms, you're going to give it serious thought?
Yeah, I'd be lying otherwise. I'd just be lying, and I can't do that.
Governor, you have long said.
Oh, I'd be lying. I can't do that. I couldn't tell a lie. So he's asking about Gavin Newsom's run for president, which we all know what he's doing. Everybody's talking about that over on X. Like, there's New York Post and a bunch of other places are like, Gavin has confirmed that he's considering running for president. We all know he's running for president. We all know this already. So, yep, Gavin has officially he can't officially announce it. He probably won't officially announce it until 2027. But we all know what's going on, or maybe a few months before 2027. But he's got one more year as California governor. So, buckle in, folks. Don't expect Gavin Newsom to fix anything in California. He's working on his presidential run. So this is another clip of Gavin Newsom going viral for good reason, because it's just funny. These guys that are interviewing him are just eating it up too, and it's embarrassing. Let's watch this clip.
But also, it was also about paying the bills, man. And it was just like hustling. And so I was out there kind of raising myself, turning on the TV, started, just getting obsessed, sitting there with the Wonder Bread and 5 stacks of,
it's like the White Stack 5 story.
Come on. Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Are you talking about me?
Young YG. Poor Gavin. He grew up so poor that he had to survive on his own. And he grew up eating Wonder Bread and mac and cheese because he's from the slums, you guys.
Every day in the backyard, just bouncing the basketball, throwing the ball against the.
I'm just like you guys. I grew up eating mac and cheese and Wonder Bread, and I used to bounce balls just like you guys.
Wall until the ball is just like fraying, man, and your arms yourself. That's it, whole thing. So just and then then this student that was shitty student is in the back with his head down. All of a sudden, started throwing the baseball a little faster than everyone else. And started, make a few free throws because I was sitting there practicing 500 of them every damn night. And in high school, I look up in the stands, my dad's back up there.
Okay, dope.
And it's like, man. And then he's bringing his friends. And
his poor dad, poor dad that could barely provide for him because he grew up in the slums.
And you're captain of the team, and you're like, gee, and it just saved me, and it got me into college.
He's one step away from doing the whole Kamala, turning on the black accent. He's one step away from talking about how he used to make collard greens in the bathtub. Remember when Kamala said that? He was close there. He was definitely close. All right, so this is from Kevin Dalton. He says Gavin Newsom with Paul Moen, Andrew Getty, and Bill Getty posing for Children of the Rich feature that ran in the San Francisco Chronicle on December 12th, 1991. So look at this picture. So here's Gabby. Here's Gabby, he's in the middle, second from the left here. So it's literally a San Francisco Chronicle article it's titled Gavin Newsom's First Chronicle Photo Opportunity in 1991. And the subheader says Gavin Newsom with Paul Moen, Andrew Getty, and Bill Getty posing for a Children of the Rich feature that ran in the San Francisco Chronicle on December 12, 1991. He grew up eating Wonder Bread and mac and cheese, you guys, because he was so poor. That's hanging out with the Gettys. So poor. Okay. This is from Wall Street Apes. This is what kind of annoys me about some of these accounts. I like Wall Street Apes, but this is a story from Ashley Zavala, and he just kind of like took it as his own. He doesn't like give Ashley Zavala any credit here whatsoever. So he says California homeless spending exposes money laundering. $26 million in taxpayer money that was supposed to be used to build new housing for the homeless was instead used to fund a lavish lifestyle for a real estate developer. And then he reads what Ashley Zavala says here. So I think I might have played this clip already, but it's worth noting. This is the guy from, I believe this is the guy from the Shangri-La foundation that got millions of dollars to build. They were going to renovate like 7 different hotels in California and turn them into like low-income housing for the homeless. And only 2 of them got built. Meanwhile, this guy's spending money. Like he bought a Ferrari, or he leased a Ferrari, bought a Rolex, paid off his credit card bill, paid off student loans, all sorts of shit. Let's watch this clip from Ashley Zavala here.
All right, tonight, stunning new details on what happened to almost $26 million in taxpayer money that was supposed to be used to build new housing for the homeless. CBS LA political reporter Tom Waite live in Thousand Oaks to show us what we've uncovered. Tom?
And good evening to you, Juan. So many people might remember earlier this week, the acting U.S. attorney announced charges in his ongoing audit and investigation of where taxpayer money is going in terms of the homeless crisis. Well, we've learned new details.
Sorry, I have to stop you guys. There's an A-frame building behind him here. This is what I live in. I live in an A. You notice I have the triangle. I'm upstairs. This is what I live. This is what an A-frame building is, where literally the walls come all the way to the ground. The roof is the walls. That's what I live in up here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Don't ever let anybody accuse me of being rich. I literally live in a cabin in the redwoods, just like this.
Details tonight that are pretty disturbing. In fact, this hotel is at the center of it. The guy that was supposed to spend about $20-something million on this motel to rehab it, to turn it into homeless housing, well, instead of using it for that, as you can see, it's still abandoned, he used it for private jet flights and for things like VIP tickets to Coachella. This shuttered, dilapidated motel in Thousand Oaks was supposed to be transformed into permanent housing for the homeless. It was part of Governor Newsom's signature program called Project Home Key, turning old motels across the state into supportive housing for the homeless. But this project, like many others, was never completed. So what happened? Where did the money go? U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley this week announced charges in connection with this project, claiming the funds were stolen.
Federal agents arrested Cody Holmes, a 31-year-old Beverly Hills resident and the former CFO of Shangri-La Industries. Our investigation has showed that at least $2.2 million was diverted to pay Mr. Holmes' American Express bill.
Stolen, the feds say, by Holmes to fund a lavish lifestyle. According to a civil complaint against Holmes, he spent $53,000 for VIP tickets to Coachella, $43,000 for a flight on a private jet, $111,000 on an Hermes crocodile bag, $5,000 monthly for a Ferrari Portofino lease, $35,000 on a diamond-encrusted Audemars Piguet watch. There were also payments for expensive properties in Beverly Hills, a student loan payment, and more. In all, his company received $26 million to rehab this motel, and it appears almost nothing was done.
Even though the developer received all the money from the state, the developer did not complete the construction.
Shangri-La got over $100 million in state contracts to convert 7 motels across California. Only 2 were ever completed. In 2024, Holmes's boss filed that civil lawsuit against him for defrauding the company, which is now in bankruptcy. Federal prosecutors say California spent $24 billion in tax money on the homeless crisis, and they are just beginning to audit the programs and promise more charges if they find more fraud.
The state asked for proof that the company had the financial capacity to build all the projects. In response, Holmes and Shangri-La knowingly submitted fake bank statements which claimed to show that the developer had about $160 million on deposit.
So pretty intense there. The allegations against Holmes could send him to prison for 20 years if he's convicted on these charges. Reporting.
So keep in mind, this was a federal investigation into California. This guy would have just kept flying under the radar, spending millions of taxpayer dollars on his lavish lifestyle if it wasn't for a federal investigation into him. How many other people are doing stuff like this? There's only one guy and his small team that are doing these investigations. Why hasn't the state of California caught on to any of this? Because there's tons of other people doing the same shit with the homeless industrial complex. Probably like, when are we going to do an investigation into the high-speed rail funding? What about all those people? Where'd all those billions of dollars go? And then it's going to be the same situation with these green energy initiatives. I talk about it all the time, but they're planning on having this massive offshore wind project where they're going to build these floating windmills out off Morro Bay and up in Humboldt County. It's probably going to dwarf the high-speed rail in terms of how much money gets funded into it. And guaranteed it's going to be the same situation. All of these scams, that's what they are scams. People are skimming money off the top, putting it in their pockets, paying for lavish things, and we just have to sit back and take it because no California government officials are going to investigate this stuff because they're getting their pockets greased on the back ends too. These no-bid contracts that go to the heads of unions that are funding their campaigns. It's this circular money laundering operation that none of us can do anything about, that we all know is going on. We just can't do shit about it. It's frustrating as hell. Frustrating as shit. So good news though, you guys. Good news. We are number 1 in the nation. We are number 1 in the nation again. So let's celebrate. Los Angeles earns top spot for most rat-infested city in the U.S., according to the new Yelp report. Isn't that cool? All right, let's watch this clip. I'm not going to read the article. I'll just play the clip. Oh, it's muted.
Now tops on a high-profile list. New at 11, move over New York. LA now tops on a high-profile list, not one we necessarily want to be on. Los Angeles has earned the title of America's #1 rodent hotspot. It's based on the number of Yelp searches for rodent services. Experts say it may be surprising, but the area's densely populated neighborhoods and dry conditions lead wildlife like rats to search for food and water near people's homes. Taking the #2 spot is San Francisco, New York is #3, and Chicago's #4. New at 11, move over New.
Interesting. So I believe LA County just implemented a mandate to compost your trash as well. So that's probably, a lot of people are speculating that that's contributing to the rat infestation because they mandated new composting laws. So just funny. Thought I'd share that with you guys. We're number 1, you guys. Okay, this is again from Wall Street Apes. He says you literally can't make up. California Democrats exempted themselves from environmental regulations for their capital renovations. So remember, Gavin Newsom is attacking Trump like crazy because he's renovating the East Wing of the White House and turning it into a ballroom. At the same time, Gavin Newsom is bad-mouthing Trump about this. There's this super secret Capitol building getting built that is all hush-hush. Ashley Zavala has been reporting on it, but like you can't find out how much money, like they're just being super secretive about it. And it's really shady because it's starting to seem like another massive money laundering thing. So, yeah, Wall Street Apes. Let's see. Danger. My buddy who has a CDL in California says he makes $3,000 to $5,000. It takes $3,000 to $5,000 to get your CDL. Interesting. That's a lot of money. California Democrats exempt themselves from environmental regulations for their new Capitol renovations. Gavin Newsom quietly rushed through a bill and then threatened to veto the budget unless the exemptions were passed. 2024 exemptions, SB 174, AB 174. In June 2024, as parts of the state budget, lawmakers rushed through a bill exempting the entire Capitol Annex renovation from CEQA requirements. That's just, they always do this. They always do this. They exempt themselves from taxes and all sorts of requirements that they pass. Then again, in 2025, CEQA, California Environmental Quality Act, reforms in June through July of 2025. Newsom signed 2 Democratic-led bills rolling back the California Environmental Quality Act for multiple project types, including state office buildings like the Capitol Annex. Newsom pushed these changes aggressively, threatening to veto the budget, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's just play the clip. So, yeah, see, another thing. This is from the older millennial, and he didn't give him any credit for his video here. So this guy's big. This guy's got like a really giant account on TikTok and a really giant account here on X too, and he makes a lot of good content. But Wall Street Apes didn't give him credit again. It's kind of frustrating. So this is from the older millennial.
Look, you liberals, you're really upset about this, right? Good, because that's the renovations to the California state capitol, which has been going on for 7 years now and has doubled in cost to what they originally projected. Yeah, people of California, you are paying for this, unlike the project done at the White House. Yeah, we are not paying for that. But you're paying for this. Oh, and in addition to the project, which was supposed to be $500 million, now costing more than $1.3 billion and counting, they also repealed environmental acts so that they didn't have.
Hold on. What was that number?
Project, which was supposed to be $500 million, now costing more than $1.3 billion.
Supposed to be $500 million, and they more than doubled that to $1.3 billion. That's how every project goes. Remember, the high-speed rail was supposed to originally be $33 million for 33, was it 11 billion? I can't remember. The number has skyrocketed. And it was supposed to be, remember, it was supposed to be done by 2020 from San Francisco to LA. And it's like 3 times the amount that they said it was going to be that they've already spent. And the line from freaking Merced to Bakersfield isn't even done. A train which nobody wants to take, and it won't even be high speed.
And counting. They also repealed environmental acts so that they didn't have to answer any questions about the renovations they're doing. Yeah, so if you're from California, yeah, you can shut the fuck up about the renovations to the East Wing. Because 1, you're not paying for it. None of us are paying for it, unless you're one of the 7 billionaires who are putting money into it, or the president of the United States paying out of his personal money, because this is what's happening at your state capitol and has been happening for 7 years, and they're not even close to done, and you're footing a $1.3 billion bill for. Currently, it's going to be more. Look,
don't come at me, bro. I have no complaints about the East Wing getting renovated. Whatever, dude. Don't come at me. I don't support Gavin Newsom. All right, let's keep going here. Gavin Newsom sat down with Bill Clinton. Two wonderful guys. Aren't you excited that Gavin Newsom was sitting down with Bill Clinton having a conversation? This is interesting. Bill Clinton actually kind of says, like, hey, what is good that's happening in California right now? What do you have to brag about? Listen to what Gavin Newsom says here.
Tell us what you think we should know about what's going right in California.
Well, I appreciate the context. Look, California is America, but only more so.
What? I hate this guy. What's going right? Tell us something that's going right, something that's going well. I'm surprised he didn't just say, oh, well, we're the 4th largest economy, even though now we're the 5th largest economy. We've been jockeying back and forth with Japan for a while here. But no, he doesn't go to that, which is usually his go-to, because it's actually true, but that's despite California government, not because of it. We sort of have Silicon Valley and Hollywood, so that helps quite a bit, not to mention a huge agricultural economy out here. So this is all the California economy numbers come despite the California government, not because of it. But that's not even what he's going to brag about. Listen to what Gavin actually brags about here. Matty Bracco, nice to see you.
We're the most, in the spirit of your introductory remarks, and just to set the scene, it's the size of 21 state populations combined. It's the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. 27% of my state is foreign-born.
So that's what he's going to brag about, that 27% of the California population wasn't born here. Okay, well, 10%. Did you guys know this? That close to 10%, it's like 9.3% of the Los Angeles population are illegal immigrants. Not foreign born, illegal immigrants. 1 in 10 people that you see in Los Angeles are here illegally. That seems to be what he's bragging about here. Sanctuary state policies.
Practice pluralism. It's a point of pride. I say that because it needs to be said, and you reinforce it here today. It's in that diversity that we have achieved so much strength.
So that's what he's going to brag about. Bill Clinton asked him, what's going right in California? Well, 27% of our population is foreign born. That's what's going right. Okay. Like, I have no problem with legal immigration. I don't. I know there's a lot of people that do, especially right now, that think we should shut everything down because shit has gotten so out of control with the illegal immigration. They think we should shut all of it down, not bring anybody in. But when we used to have the whole melting pot idea, before we had a welfare state, before we had a sanctuary state, and people could come here and live off of the government teat, people that came to America came here knowing that if they failed, they were going to lose everything. They were going to go homeless. They were going to end up on the streets. So they came here and they busted their ass. And since they did it legally, it was a hard process. It was a hard thing to do. It wasn't easy. So you got people that are willing to take a chance and take everything they own, all the money they've saved, and come here and try and make something for themselves so they can support their families and themselves. And that's the type of people that we actually want coming to America, people that love America, people that are going to work hard to try and create something and contribute to this place. Sanctuary state policies and the welfare state destroyed all of that. We aren't this melting pot of all the best cultures and best people from the world coming here anymore. We have incentivized people coming here to live off the welfare state and do it illegally. That's what Gavin Newsom's proud of. And it's fucking disgusting, if you ask me. Oh, let's keep going here. All right. So this is from God, he did it again. This is from Carl DeMaio. This is from Carl DeMaio, who's leading the charge for getting voter ID on the ballot. And Wall Street Apes didn't even mention his name. Okay, so he says, well, wow, California Democrats gave themselves a 6-figure pension for life paid for by taxpayers. Do you guys know that? So California Democrats that are of the, I believe, state assembly, state senate, and probably other positions, when they retire, they're going to get a 6-figure pension, taxpayer paid. So that's interesting. Let's see what Carl DeMaio has to say here.
Forget your Social Security and 401k retirement accounts. Do you know that California state and local government employees are earning 6-figure pensions every year for life, higher than the highest salary they actually earned while working? All of that is part of California's looming pension crisis, and you're on the hook to pay for all of it. Billions in liabilities. Coming up, we're going to blow the lid open on this pension crisis facing California taxpayers and what we're doing to fight back to save you from having to pay for it. To watch the full episode of this show, click.
So that's interesting. That's, California doesn't have a Federal Reserve. They don't have a money printer. So if Trump keeps doing the thing where he's defunding California federal dollars because they're not willing to play ball, where's this money going to come from? This all comes from taxpayer dollars. Again, California can't just print money out of thin air like the federal government. They have to come up with the money. Where does that money come from? Us. It comes from middle class to fund all of their money laundering operations and lavish lifestyles. Yeah. There was I'm not even going to play this. It was like a carjacking and it was a high-speed chase, but I don't even want to play that because it's not, I could skip that. I only got a half an hour left and I have a few other things I want to cover. So I didn't look into this enough before the episode started, but this happened out of Alameda, the Alameda, I believe it was the Coast Guard base. and they had like a standoff. There was some sort of protest going on out there, and you could see all of the Coast Guard or the cops. This looks like Alameda County Sheriff's Department or Alameda Police. Got a car, they got a barrier set up, and they got the road blocked off. And then look what this U-Haul truck does, and they open fire on them. So I will say, you see this guy standing right here in the frame, the guy with the beanie, the hat? Like, what are you doing? You're seeing a standoff with police, and they're all aiming their firearms in your general direction. What are you doing? Get the hell out of there. And then sure enough, they opened fire and somebody got hit. So not just the driver, it's probably a bullet got deflected off the truck, but somebody else got hit. So the guy's wearing a mask. Apparently he took at least one round to the, I guess he got a bullet in his stomach. So, you know, these U-Hauls are paper thin. So this guy got lit up, but a bystander was shot in this incident as well. I don't know what the follow-up was with this. Like, what was this all about? I know Tim Pool did a little segment on it, but like, I don't know what came of this. That's the end of the clip. So I don't know what happened to that dude. I don't know. Here, let me see if there's any extra info on it. Yeah, I don't see any extra issue on it. So somebody posted another. This is the same U-Haul that was used to blockade the street earlier. I don't even know what they were protesting. Like Alameda, what are you protesting out in Alameda? Like, what's going on out there? Alameda is a little island near Oakland, if you guys aren't aware. So there's like, I don't understand what there's no like ice raids going on out there or anything like that. So I don't know what they were protesting. Standoff between protesters and Coast Guard continues outside the base in Alameda. Demonstrators have blockaded the bridge entrance to the island with vans and cars. What the heck? Why are you having a standoff with the Coast Guard? I think, of course, you got people in the inflatable suits again. Like, what is this about? I saw the Mexican flag being flown there. It's got to be something about ICE. Yeah, I don't know. You guys, let me know in the chat if you got any extra information on this. Like, what ended up happening with this? Very interesting. So that happened. That happened out in Alameda. All right. Let's check in on home prices. And you know how they're building all this affordable housing, right? You get these high-rise buildings going up, and to create a high-rise building these days, you got to have some units within the building that are affordable housing. It's like a law that they passed. Well, let's see how affordable these actually are, because they call it affordable housing, but when they get built, it never seems too affordable. So this guy did a little bit of digging.
White people have been calling Santa Monica ghetto, and for quite some time, people have been losing it over the Vaughn's new apartments in Santa Monica. You want a studio? Try $4,775. Maybe you want to get a little fancy with a studio in the corner. Try $5,310 a month. Oh, you want an entire one bedroom to yourself? $6,035. We haven't even gotten to the corner one bedrooms. Want to get fancy with a 2-bed, 1-bath balcony? $8,610 a month.
These are apartments in an apartment building. No backyard, no front yard. Apartments. Probably get one parking spot assigned. This is insane.
Now we're getting real bougie. 3 beds, 2 baths, with a balcony, $12,000 a month. Oh, okay, so now you're a king. You want people in yellow protesting about you. You 3-bedroom, 2-bath, penthouse, try $30,000 a month. You could buy an $8 million home and still be well under that. For some years.
By the way, Santa Monica has rent control. Santa Monica is a city with rent control. So there's people that have been living in the same apartment since the 80s or the 90s that are paying like $700 a month. Meanwhile, you got these going up, and for the entry level shit, you're paying $4,000 a month for a studio. Meanwhile, somebody down the street has got a rooftop balcony and, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and they're paying $700 a month. City of Santa Monica is out of control. That's where Dr. Hamedi lives, and he's always raging against Soviet Monica, as he calls it.
Years now, mortgages are actually higher than rents. These apartments happen to be an outlier. And from what I'm hearing, this isn't even like prime Santa Monica location. Where are my Santa Monica folks at? Can you shed some light on this? Is this in a phenomenal part of Santa Monica? Is anyone with money really doing this?
So I want to hear what Dr. Hamedi had to say about that. Actually, let me see something. I wonder if he responded. He usually does. He usually sees this stuff. Let me tag him. Really quick. All right, let's just see what he has to say there. Just tagged him really quick to see if he's going to comment on that, because that's his home turf there. All right, this is from Libs of TikTok. This is going to piss you guys off. This one pissed me off a lot. So this is Libs of TikTok says, massive scandal unfolding in California school. A 4-year-old girl was allegedly graped by a male teacher. By a male teaching assistant who was left alone with her during a nap. A 4-year-old girl, you guys. The school reportedly covered it up for months. When the superintendent, Gina Potter, finally addressed it, she simply called it a safety incident. A brave former student spoke out and shared her story of abuse in the same district. Something is very wrong. So let's watch this clip. It's like 3 minutes long. I'm going to play the whole thing.
I'm here to speak out regarding the atrocities that have occurred in the school district. Atrocities that have occurred because Superintendent Gina Potter and her administration have allowed them to. One such atrocity was the horrific case of sexual abuse against a preschooler that occurred at Sunset Elementary in January of this year. Superintendent Potter, her board, and her administration were aware of this case, yet she ignored her legal obligation to notify parents, as the perpetrator was hired to work at all school sites. It wasn't until September where only parents of the affected classroom at Sunset were notified, quite vaguely, and did not have their questions answered. Later, it was only until parents from the community came to speak out on what had occurred in a public board meeting that Dr. Potter released a vague, lackluster statement on the matter, misleading parents, labeling a case of sexual abuse against a minor as a mere school safety incident. The fact that you thought that you could hide this from parents for 8 months and then deliberately mislead us is one of the many clear examples showing the low regard in which you hold our community's intellect. That's insulting and repulsive. The same was done when I was harassed by a substitute teacher as an 8th grader at Sims, a grown man who asked that I meet him outside of school. I was 13 and terrified of what that teacher could do and questioned whether I was safe at school at all. No proper measures were taken in this alarming case beyond him not returning to my school site. It was then that I lost all trust in the district superintendent and her administration. However, I would like to thank my teacher, Mr. Alvis, for supporting my mother and I during this incident. He's a truly wonderful science teacher. There is another case in which a different substitute teacher who was hired by the district for 30 years also sexually harassed students. Dr. Potter has done absolutely nothing to stop this type of abuse from occurring, but gave us insincere sympathy, allowing it to continue. In all of these cases, Superintendent Potter and the San Ysidro School District Board didn't want to deal with all the necessary changes it would bring to this district, and didn't want to deal with such a mark on their reputation. However, ignoring and worse, hiding these acts from families who only want to protect their children is appalling and even downright complicit. How could you possibly find it morally acceptable on your conscience to hide the abuse of children happening on your campuses, especially considering some of you are parents yourselves? How dare you value your image, salary, and position more than our children? I think that's outrageous. That's right. Yep. You treat us, our children, and our grievances about the issues in this district like a mere inconvenience, as something that blocks you from sitting comfortably or from climbing your political ladder. You truly don't care. You say you do, but you don't. Your actions, your mockery, and your lack of care for the safety of our children, they speak volumes compared to your rhetoric. Superintendent Potter has failed to fulfill her job as superintendent and has failed to keep students safe. You have failed our children. This is why we, the parents, asked Superintendent Potter to resign immediately. And to Board Member Martinez, how dare you claim to be a victim of intimidation when the true victim was that 4-year-old little girl, sexually abused by one of your employees? True victims are the students who are here.
These school officials too, to sit on a school board in California in any of these school districts, it's not a paid position, but it's still an elected position. From my understanding, tell me if I'm wrong there. So in order to get on the school board, you end up with a lot of people that are either independently wealthy or they have a spouse that is wealthy and they don't have to work. So because it's a full-time gig. Like, it's a full-time gig. It's not paid. I was considering running for school board, and then I found out it's like not a paid position. I was like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to survive? So what you end up with is a bunch of freaking super wealthy liberals running these schools that are completely detached from reality, and then these sort of scandals happen and they bury them. It's fucking gross. It's gross, and it should piss everybody off. Pisses me off. All right, a little bit about the Prop 50 stuff. So here's so Gavin Newsom's upset because Donald Trump's sending some people to observe the Prop 50 election. And Gavin Newsom's like, this is a state election. They has no business being here. This isn't a federal election. This is a state election. This is a special election. It's not even midterms. It's not even the presidential race. This is a special election. They have no business being here. What is it though? It's redrawing the congressional maps, the House of Representative congressional maps. So yeah, I mean, it kind of pertains to the federal government a bit, but Gavin Newsom doesn't think so. Let's listen to this clip of Gavin talking here.
So today, the Trump administration announced they're sending election monitors to 5 specific counties here in the state of California. They have no business doing that. They have no basis to do that. In fact, we have a statewide election for a statewide constitution. This is about voter intimidation. This is about voter suppression, period, full stop. And it's a pattern, isn't it? It's consistent.
No, the redistricting of the maps themselves is actually about voter suppression, because that's what you're doing by taking a county that is, plus 70% Democrats, shaving a little bit off of that and shoving it into a county that's plus 60% Republican to try to neutralize those Republican votes. That's what this is about. That's actual voter suppression. And again, congressional maps, not state Senate, not state assembly, congressional maps for the United States House of Representatives.
What they've done with the federalization of the National Guard and the intimidation and the chill that's created. They'll do that right around Election Day as well. Same thing with ICE and Border Patrol, masked men. Watch that space showing up in and around polling booths and voting places. But this.
Oh, you mean immigration officers seeing if illegal immigrants are actually voting in these elections, which the entire country suspects are happening because we don't require ID. We issue driver's licenses to illegal immigrants. And there seems to have been a couple of oopsies where illegal immigrants actually got registered to vote on accident, according to the Secretary of State. Yeah, it's not happening though. They're just trying to intimidate.
Is a bridge too far. And I hope people understand it's a bridge that they're trying to build, the scaffolding for all across this country in next November's election. They do not believe in fair and free elections. Our republic, our democracy is on the line. We all need to wake up.
Shut up, Gavin. Shut your filthy, fork-tongued mouth. So, Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dillon says, LOL, calm down, bro. The Justice Department under Democrat administrations has sent federal election observers for decades, and not once did you hear that this was about voter intimidation from states such as California. Do you really want to go there? Isn't transparency a good thing? So Harmeet Dillon just telling him to shut up. Good. I love Harmeet Dillon. She's freaking great. So he continues. He goes on a little bit more here. It's from Wall Street Apes again. It says, I hope everyone understands what Gavin Newsom is admitting to here. Newsom is literally saying the federal government, the U.S. Department of Justice, has no right to stop his illegals from voting in his Prop 50 redistricting election. Let's listen to this clip of Gavin Newsom talking more shit.
And I was just on the line because the DOJ is being sent out to California to monitor our election. I have an election in November, Prop 50, a statewide election. They have no business, no jurisdiction to monitor it. And
Okay, so you see, Gavin's upset. Gavin's upset that they're monitoring this election. So let's continue. So yeah, again, this is the special election, Prop 50, the redistricting of the congressional maps. That I just did a whole episode on that. So, well, I did half an episode on that. Acting Attorney General Bill Asali, I think that's how you say his name, Asali, the same guy that discovered this Shangri-La dude is laundering tons of money and paying for a Ferrari, a fancy watch, tickets to Coachella, private jet flights. Same guy. So he says, let's stop pretending that California hasn't improperly registered non-citizens to vote. Doesn't matter whether it was an inadvertent or not. We have a fundamental principle in our country: one person, one vote. Allowing non-citizens to vote dilutes the votes of American citizens. We are absolutely going to monitor and hold California responsible, as it should. So, and he's responding to Secretary of State Shirley Ann Weber, who's auditing me, by the way. Auditing when I ran for state senate and only got like 3% of the vote. Yeah, they decided to audit me about that. I haven't told you guys about that. So I need to get all my paperwork together and send it into them, because I didn't pull any shenanigans. I only raised like 10 grand. There's still $2,000 sitting in a bank account that I haven't touched. So we'll see what happens with that. I'll keep you guys posted. So Shirley Weber says, she responds to the federal monitoring of special elections. Let's see what she says. She says, I am aware of the United States Department of Justice's plan to deploy federal monitors to 5 California counties. The Department of Justice has not provided our office with any justification for the need to deploy federal monitors to these 5 counties in what is a non-federal special election. How is it non-federal if you're talking about redistricting the congressional maps? That's federal. Like, yeah, it's a statewide election pertaining to the way our federal government is run, pertaining to how many California congressmen will be Democrat versus Republican. How does this not have, like, are you really going to say that? This doesn't have like any federal implications, redistricting the congressional map? Are you out of your mind? She continues, California reaffirms that what has long been true. Our elections are secure, transparent, and administered by Californians for Californians in accordance with state and federal law. California will continue to safeguard every voter's right to participate freely and confidently in the state's special election without intimidation. Oh, God, the gaslighting is insane. We will not permit tactics masquerading as oversight to erode voter confidence or intimidate Californians. Okay, hold on. How is the election being monitored intimidation? Unless you have a reason to be intimidated, like you're just going there to vote, like you're not going to get deported if you're a United States citizen. Who's getting intimidated? How is ICE or anybody else near the voter booths intimidation whatsoever? The only way it would be intimidation is if illegal immigrants are voting. That's the only people that would be intimidated by this. Our voters have earned the right to cast their ballots free from surveillance or interference from anyone. And again, most people are voting by mail. So who are they intimidating? The people that are counting the votes? Like what's going on? In California, election integrity is not about a talking point. It's a practice built on decades of professionalism and public trust. We intend to keep it that way. Yeah, public trust, because half the population, probably more, thinks California elections are rigged as hell. My office will take every step necessary to protect the rights of our voters to participate without interference in the November 4th, 2025 statewide election. Okay, yeah, so good old Bill here tells her to shut her mouth because this is nothing new. So continue is a little more... Oh, I don't need that one. Got some more prop. I thought I had another Prop 50 thing. Yes, I do. So, yeah. So this is about Prop 50 as well. So they're talking about, so like I mentioned, the Prop 50 is about drawing new maps to redistrict the congressional map in California. So you got people like Scott Wiener, who's the state senator out of San Francisco, who's now running for Congress. He's going to be running to take Nancy Pelosi's seat in Congress. Well, if they're going to gerrymander his district, even though his district is already super blue, but if anybody votes or anybody had anything to do with redistricting these maps, should they be allowed to run for federal government after this? You're essentially rigging your own election. So this is from Ashley Zavala. She's interviewing, I don't know who she's interviewing here, but they bring up some good points. So let's listen to this quick clip of Ashley Zavala interviewing some people with some good points.
For both of you, this week there was a proposed ballot initiative that entered circulation here in California that would prohibit the state lawmakers who voted to put Prop 50 on the ballot from running for elected office in California. That includes Congress, that includes statewide office, that includes local offices. Is that fair to you, Neil?
It's absolutely fair to me. Those are the same rules that apply to us as commissioners. We're not allowed to run for local office or appointed local office for 5 years. And
okay, so California has a separate third-party organization that draws these maps, these congressional. So everybody has a different map. They have congressional districts that has its own map. They have state Senate districts that has its own map. And then they have state assembly that has its own map, and they're all different. These maps are all created by a third-party committee. What California is doing is trying to bypass that third-party committee. These current maps for the congressional race, the new congressional maps that Prop 50 is trying to change, weren't created by this third-party committee, which is in the Constitution, California Constitution, that these have to be drawn by a third-party committee. They're trying to bypass that. That's why we have to vote on it, because they can't just slam it through. So they drew these maps. The people in California Democrats that currently hold office drew these maps. Well, this guy works for this Citizens Redistricting Commission. After they create these maps, they can't run for office for 5 years. So what he's saying is state senators, assemblymen, or anybody else that currently hold office, they aren't able to run for office for the next 5, maybe even 10 years if they had anything to do with creating this map. Then you've got Scott Wiener running for state senate. You're going to have assemblymen who they serve. I think they can only serve a 4-year term. It might be 8 years, but you have to rerun every 2 years. For state assembly, state senate, it's a 2-year election. Every 2 years, you have to run again. So if you term out like John Laird, the guy I ran against, he's termed out this year. He's a state senator for District 17, the district that I ran in. When he terms out, if he wants to go and run for Congress or run for Senate, should he be allowed to, since California Democrats created these new maps? And he's saying no, they shouldn't, because they were part of gerrymandering the very districts that they would be running in.
No statewide offices for 10 years, so the same rules should apply.
Cynthia?
I totally agree. I mean, we want to get rid of the self-dealing that's going on, where politicians are selecting their voters rather than the other way around. And this way, they will not be able to run in the districts they just designed for themselves.
So you've got a Republican and a Democrat agreeing here. So the other guy was a Republican, Cynthia Dye, served on the 2010 California Citizens Redistricting Commission. Democrat, you can tell by the hair here. They agree. So that's why I kind of have hope for this Prop 50 thing, because I've talked to a lot of Democrats that are like, yeah, no, I'm voting no on Prop 50, because it's like you can see right through this what they're trying to do. They're trying to give California more Democrats congressmen. That's all they're trying to do with this map. And they're openly talking about that's what the goal is. Well, Texas is doing it, so we're trying to counter that. Texas is going to have more Republican congressmen, so we want to have more Democrat congressmen out of California, so we're going to redistrict the maps. They're just openly saying what they're doing. They're rigging elections. They're openly saying it, and then they're calling it an anti-rigging bill. It's an anti-rigging proposition. It's hilarious. They're just so open and transparent about this shit. Okay, all right. We got I got enough of these last two stories are just small, so I can share it. So your kids, you guys, they're making laws about your kids again. So apparently, starting on January 1st, 2027, a new California law signed by Gavin Newsom will require kids and teens ages 8 to 16 to pass a seatbelt fit test before they can stop using booster seats. So if your 15-year-old doesn't want to sit, imagine that the California government might make your 15-year-old kid have to sit in a booster seat. That's hilarious. Let's listen to this.
This law doesn't go into effect until 2027. It will require kids pass a 5-step test before ditching the booster seat and relying solely on a seatbelt. It's based off recommendations safety experts have long pushed for. At 5 and 8 years old, my kids are both in booster seats. Under current California law, they can't transition to just using a seatbelt until they're 8 years old or 4 feet 9 inches tall. So technically, my older daughter could make the switch, but not once Assembly Bill 435 goes into effect.
When you are between 8 and 16 years old, you're going to have to meet specifications and pass the 5-step test in order to transition to out of a booster seat.
Ben Harris is the Chula Vista Fire Department's car seat safety technician. I asked him to go over those 5 steps. First, can your child sit all the way back against the seat?
Shoulders back, bottom all the way to the back of the seat.
Can their knees bend comfortably at the edge of the seat?
You shouldn't have to hold your knees straight out or hold your legs straight out, so they should bend naturally.
Bend and touch the floor?
They don't have to touch the floor, they just need to bend appropriately.
Next, does the belt cross the shoulder between the neck and arm, resting on the collarbone?
Not down here, and we don't want it up against the neck like that.
Is the lap belt as low as possible, touching the thighs?
It's not actually up against my stomach or against my abdomen at all.
Finally, can your child stay seated like this the whole trip? If a driver can't say yes to all 5 questions about their seatbelted child passenger, they could face fines of $490.
A lot of the science and a lot of the data shows that it's going to be what's best for our children, because if a child is moved out of the booster seat prematurely, risk for fatality or severe injury goes up exponentially.
Initially, the bill proposed banning teenagers 16 and under from sitting in the front seat and requiring short stature youth to use booster seats into their middle school years.
Oh, so 16 and under can't sit in the front seat either. Oh, God, hilarious.
After pushback from lawmakers, the author, Democratic Assemblywoman Lori Wilson, watered it down. And even if your child does pass the 5-step test, the California Highway Patrol recommends kids under 13 sit in the back. Working for you.
What it comes down to is making sure that our children
I wasn't comfortable with the way the camera zoomed in right there.
Safe.
Shanna Handy, CBS 8.
Okay, so if you get pulled over and your kid's in the car and you don't got him in a booster seat, you might see that cop coming over and taking a tape measure to your kid, doing all sorts of shenanigans. So that might be happening on January 1st, 2027. All right, so last thing I want to talk about, and I talked about this Glock ban last episode or 2 episodes ago, and Glock went and bent the knee. They're redesigning their entire line. Glock is going to redesign. So all Gen 3 pistols, I feel like they're going to go up in value. Any of the Glocks that you could put one of those auto sears on, the button, the switch that makes it fully auto, essentially, there are Glocks no longer going to make firearms that allow that to happen. So, I mean, I'm going to wonder is like, are these firearms, like they're going to have to, since they're redesigning, they're re-engineering all of their firearms. I mean, I'm not going to want to go out and get one of these Gen 1 Glocks. Like, you know, safety, how well do they shoot? They have to completely redesign the whole platform. I mean, people buy Glocks for their reliability. They shoot straight. You know what you're getting when you're buying a Glock. And then all of a sudden they're going to have to rebuild their entire system. So I'm curious how this is going to go, but let's listen to Coley and Noir talk about it, because Glock is doing this just because California is outlawing Glocks. Even though this bill is probably going to get shot down by the Supreme Court, Glocks, they're getting hit with lawsuits left and right. So they're just doing it. They're not just getting hit with lawsuits out of California. They're getting hit with lawsuits all over the place because people are putting something that's already illegal onto their firearms.
Glock just got by California.
slap you. Yeah, I said it. The biggest handgun company on the planet just got told to sit down, shut up, and redesign 80% of their lineup. And they did it. No raids, no confiscations, no dramatic press conference, just a quiet legal chokehold that worked. And the worst part, most of you didn't even notice it happened. Here's what's going on. As of November 30th, Glock's reportedly cutting off shipments on almost all of their double-stack pistols, Gen 3s, 4s, 5s, all gone. Only the slimline stay. They're replacing them with something called the V series, supposedly to make it impossible to drop in those $3 backplates that turn a Glock into a machine pistol. Sounds harmless, right? Wrong. This isn't about safety. This is about control. Because when the government can force a private company to redesign its entire product line, that's not regulation, that's domination. Let's call it what it is. Strategic surrender. Not because Glock wanted to, but because they had no damn choice. They're getting hit with lawsuits left and right. Chicago, Minnesota, New Jersey, all suing Glock because criminals are illegally modifying guns. And California, being California, passed AB 1127, banning any pistol readily convertible to a machine gun starting 2026. No confiscation, no raids, just one quiet law that slices off an entire market. That's how they do it now. Silent, surgical, effective. And look, I get it. People are pissed. They think Glock bent the knee, but Glock didn't bend the knee. They got forced to it. They've been losing motions to dismiss in court. Every time a judge says no, the lawyers get to dig deeper. Emails, eternal memos, design files, prototypes. That's not just expensive, that's existential. You either redesign on your own terms or do it under a court order while your company bleeds millions. That's the reality.
So Glock got forced to redesign their whole line, all because of this California bill that's forcing them to do it. It's pretty interesting. I mean, I'm not going to buy any of these brand new first gen V style Glocks, whatever they're calling them now. I'm going to wait a couple of I mean, I already got my Gen 3 Glock 23. I want to go out and buy a Glock 19 now before you can't get them anymore. So, yeah. I mean, shit. I want to. What is the 10 millimeter Glock? I want to get one of those too. So, yeah. I won't be buying any of these new Glock pistols. That's for sure. I'm more of a SIG guy now anyway. So, whatever. But interesting. So, Glock bent the knee, or did they? They're being forced to. Lawsuits, all that shit. So interesting, folks. All right. LPR, thanks for joining. I'm intimidated by illegals voting. Danger. Mathan Transport LLC is the trucking company that employed the trucker that killed people in Ontario, California, is changing all the logos on their trucks and trailer and filing for new paperwork. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. Danger, trying to sweep it under the bus. Yeah. It's sweep it under the rug. You got throw them under the bus and sweep them onto the rug. Mixed up. You combined the two. I'm sorry, I'll stop being pedantic. Josh Pitts, I live in a liberal town, Chico, and I'm shocked about how many no on 50 signs I've seen. Way more than Kamala signs I saw last election. That's encouraging. It's encouraging. I'm seeing barely any signs of either way up here, but it's about the same. I'm seeing lots of no on 50 and I'm seeing lots of yes on 50. There's one house that's like a few miles from me that I pass every day and they got yes on 50, stop Trump's election rigging, like all, so they're going out of control with it. Danger, but Gavin Newsom told us California is the most free state in the nation. I know, right? Symbolic T, nice to see you. Thank you for reposting the stream. I appreciate it. All righty. That is all I got for you guys. So that is all I got for tonight. I have a bunch of Zohran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo stuff, and I don't remember the guy's first name, the Siwa guy, the Republican candidate out of New York. I want to talk about that. So I'll be talking about that next episode. Probably have a bunch more California stuff to talk about then too. Probably have Eric Abenante on soon to talk about the ceasefire situation in Israel and see if he thinks that'll hold and make some inappropriate jokes that'll probably get me kicked off of YouTube. Yeah, it's funny. Whenever I have my Jewish friend on, we always say the most controversial thing. So interesting how that works. All right. That is all I got for tonight. Thank you everybody for joining. Danger, Boss Tina, Let me start from the bottom here. Danger, Symbolic T, Josh, LPR, Matty Bracco. Who else we got here? Saw Wally World earlier. Wally World, NH Honeycutt, Nicole, Magatroll. No Dodgers. I'm not a fan of the Dodgers, and I never will be. That's everybody. Everybody. Soylent Green. Then over on Rumble, we got Bob Tiergarden, Mahanish, Memke Obakra. Okay, let's see. So the chat isn't working, so we check up on the chat over there too. At least your rent is an A-frame because putting a roof on it would really take a chunk out of your net worth. Yeah, I can't afford to buy a home. I can almost afford to buy a home up here in the Santa Cruz Mountains, though. If I made like another $20,000 a year, I could afford to buy a home on my own. I want to. That's like my goal. The Coast Guard thing could just be a bunch of mutual aid Antifa retards going to protest at a federal office that someone just told them was ICE. That could be. Bob Hiergarden again over on Rumble. I see the posts the local retards make and frequently do my own recon as I'm looking for any route to get running miles. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's killing two birds with one stone. I like it. Last time they sent people to some random building that was just a FBI, had FBI offices in it. Well, there's a building over in the Prune Yard that has FBI built offices in it. I know that for sure. Bob Tiergarden, I couldn't find any evidence of ICE whatsoever. Okay. All right. Interesting. All right, folks. That is all I got. But before we get out of here, you know how we do it. We got to tell a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. What do we have this evening? Okay. Okay, this is kind of funny. Okay, so Chuck Norris was the Jewish humanitarian of the year. Seriously. And on that note, stay Cali-based.